What you doing?
She keep going off her screen. She gonna have the video jacked up.
I started to say something.
Go ahead. I'm ready. I'm ready today. Okay. Okay. I was trying to set it up, but I had it. All right. You can see it.
I can see something, but I don't know what it says.
It says, I'm not working harder than the student, question mark, ma'am. You are supposed to be the light that shines for students through dark times, the bridge that helps eliminate the gap in the kids' future. I know you aren't their parent, but you're responsible for their development and well-being for a minimum. It's supposed to be a minimum a third of their daily lives. You have your degrees. You've lived an adult life. Why is your work valued more than a student who has Lord knows what's going on in their teen, adolescent, minor lives? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I stand up and I give the instructions to students that are not mentally disabled. They are very capable students. I explain what the instructions are. I also have a very open communication in my class where if you're going through something at home, if you have an issue, you can always come to Miss Carter. But most students don't have, let me put it like this, a good majority of them do not, they don't do their work because they don't have emotional issues or uh, family problems. They do their work. Some of them, for the most part, do not do their work because they don't try. That could be because there's a gap. There could be
What are you doing, Ty?
Oh, oh, sorry.
there could be issues with maybe reading or learning. Those are not the kids I'm talking about. When we made that comment, that's not, those are your outliers. You have some students that just don't want to do the work. They just don't want to do the work. So therefore, if you have, as an instructor, you have exhausted all of your
Mhm.
options. You've done all that you can. You've done all the small grouping. You sat with the student. You talked to the parent, and they still, believe it or not, there's some kids that just don't want to do the work because maybe they don't have the intrinsic motivation for whatever reason. The zero
Yeah.
is the motivation for some students. They need to get the zero to get the work done. So please stop with the whole tiny violin, and let's be the light that we are, the instructors that sit with students all day long. We care about their well-being, but guess what? There is only so much that we can
Yeah.
do at the end of the day. So if we have done everything that we can do as an instructor and the child still does not want to do their work, what else do you want an instructor to do? Do you want me to do the work for them? Because that's my next option, and I'm not doing that. So if you are not a teacher in the classroom, then what we're saying doesn't make sense. It sounds very harsh, but until you've actually been in the class with students, I think that it's really not fair to comment because it's a different experience when you've been with
Mhm.
students every single day and they just don't want to do the work. So if the solution is not to give the zero, I guess what's tone tone Ray, what
Oh,
would your solution be? Because it sure isn't gumdrops and kisses. Because the world can be a little,
I mean,
nobody's gonna care if your wife left you. You need to get in here and do this job. You do. So we're setting students up for the real world. If you don't produce a product, there are consequences for that.
Yeah, there are.
So that's my take on it.
That's your take on it. I mean, I just think it's wild. I love that we're supposed to be the light that shines in dark times and the bridge, and we eliminate gaps. But I don't know how people equate those, like put those two things together, because being the light does not mean doing it all for them. Like, we can be the lights and the gap filler and all those things, and the nurse and the PE coach and all those things, but that doesn't mean I should lower the bar and lower my standards because you don't want to do what you got to do. But I do
It's
like, what did we say back? So essentially, teachers must create the work, demonstrate the work, complete the work. What are the students going to do? That's what it boils down to. Yeah.
they want to be coddled. We're not.
Yeah.
No, we're maybe it's because I'm a middle school teacher, so it's a little bit different. But if you don't do the work, if you don't try, if you don't attempt, if you don't communicate what's going on, you know your students. Like, you know the student that has the emotional issue. Like, like, it's not a secret. You know that this kid has some abuse going on at the house. They're shutting down. We are not talking about those kids. We're talking about the everyday student that comes in. They want to sit on their phone. They don't want to do the work. And because some kids feel entitled, there are no consequences. It's a zero, and you just have to move on. It's not that complex. I mean, teaching should not be this difficult.
It's
You
really
get,
not.
you don't turn it in. This is the grade. Like, that's how it was when I was growing up and going to school.
Yeah.
I didn't
And
turn in
people
my
are
work.
really mad about the zero too. There's an argument on whether the zero is a zero, and then there's an argument like, should it be a zero or should we just put like an I for incomplete? But then somebody else said, well, an I for incomplete is also a zero. And then there was another lady who was arguing in the comments on whether or not, like, how hard it is for a student to come back from a zero. So, people really, these grades, like, maybe we just need to do a whole episode on whole drama of the grading system, but people are really upset about these grades. But there's more. If you want some more?
Go ahead.
She said that.
And this is exactly why a lot of kids, a lot of young adults are going into interviews not prepared. They're wearing
Mm-hmm.
slides. They're asking their parents to go to the interviews with them. They are not prepared for the real world because somebody gave them a 50 instead of giving them a 0 in the grade book.
Yeah.
Or even if you want to take it on a grander scale, just not holding them accountable for the work that they aren't doing. The only job you have is to go to school. That's it. That's
Yeah.
Mhm.
it.
Nothing is earned anymore.
No. So, I'm not doing that. Sorry. I think I.
Well,
Oh.
look, it's all good. So this is the one I think that had me a little bit hot. So, Um, the person said piss poor teachers who are literally getting paid to do a job and will only open their mouths to say, I'm not working harder than this student. Then then please please leave our children alone and go work in an environment that aligns with your lack of work ethic and
Mm.
commitment. Shake my head. So to that, I
Not
said
piss
what I
poor
said
teachers.
already in the comments, but I just want to elaborate, I guess, or just add context that we've talked about this 100 times before. Not
Mhm.
working harder than the student does not mean I am not working hard for the student. Those are two different things. I'm not working harder than them. I'm not doing more to get you across the finish line than you are willing to do for yourself. Because that doesn't make sense. Because then I'm doing it for you. But I'm working for you. That's why I gave you chances. That's why I'm giving you these extra assignments. That's why I'm taking the work late and I'm still willing to give you the grade. I mean, we're taking late work to the last day of school that I still have to turn around and grade, and we got to be out of here in 3 days. Like, we're doing everything we can, but I'm calling your parent. I'm scheduling time before school. I'm tutoring before and after school. You've gotten the opportunities. You just need to do what you need to do to handle your portion. I'm not responsible for that. So I don't feel like that makes us piss poor teachers. I think that makes us human. And also I feel like why is that part, like, how is that, how those two things align? I really don't understand it.
expectation for American students as a whole, and everyone doesn't feel this way, so let me put that as a disclaimer. The bar is so low. When you look at other countries and you look at monastery schools, I think it's monastery schools. I'm probably monastery schools, not monastery. You all know what I'm saying. So those type of schools where they make sure that the students are advocating for themselves, they are doing things for themselves, they're working in groups, they're critically thinking, they're not up at the teacher's desk every 10 minutes. What do I do? What do I do? After I've given you clear instructions. I'm not talking about students that have IEPs or have learning disabilities. I'm talking about students that have not learned how to critically think. They have not learned how to use their brain, how to struggle. A lot of students don't know how to struggle. It is okay to get the answer wrong because now you know what not to do. Yeah. So American students as a whole, we like to coddle them. We like to almost darn near give them the answers. But countries, how they teach their students, they are producing productive adults in the world. They are preparing them for the different obstacles that they may face as an adult. So let me be clear, I'm never bothered by any of the comments because most of these people have never ever been into the classroom. So what it seems as if is that teachers don't care, but what you're looking at are a generation of students that are not going to be able to critically think. And our job is to push our students. So no, I am not working harder than my kids. If I have done all that I'm supposed to do as an instructor and beyond, and you still don't want to do your work, no, I'm not working harder than you. No, sir. You're not getting a packet at the end of the semester. What have you produced? What are you doing?
Right.
Are you trying? I always tell my kids, if you get every single question on this worksheet wrong, I should respect that more because you tried than someone that doesn't try at all.
I think that's the statement right there. That's it right there. It's crazy.
So that's that.
I got another one. Let's see. The battle should not be between teachers and students. The structure of school is failing our kids. As teachers, the conversation should center why aren't kids submitting their assignments? There needs to be some curiosity and investigation. Kids not submitting assignments is an action that's an indicator of a larger issue. This would be a much better discussion if it centered causes of students not submitting work and real solutions to transform relationships and perspectives on student motivation. And then we responded, true. However, when the issues are investigated and there's a lack of support, what then? Bam.
Yeah, it could be a home issue.
It could, but is it usually?
No, it's not. They just don't feel like doing their work. Not all of them, but a lot of them just don't want to do the work.
I agree.
Because they might understand it because there's a learning gap. Maybe they missed out on certain things. Or it could just be that we don't hold them accountable. If you're starting at grade 1 and you get to grade 6 and you've been given stickers and lollipops and ice cream for you doing nothing,
right?
That's what you're going to get.
Yeah, agreed. I'm fine I feel like the students who have like troubled home lives, issues at home, those are not typically the students who are not turning in any work. And they're not the students who are they're not the ones who don't do anything. They're the students who will turn in the best they had or turn in something late or come and tell you like, can I get an extra day? Can you help me? The students who don't turn the work in, they were never going to.
Right.
They had no intention. That's not the same student. So I feel like we need to stop acting like kids with troubled home lives, all of a sudden they're terrible students. That's not always the case.
Oh yeah, no, that's not the truth. That's not the case all the time. No.
But I feel like that's what this comment suggests, that there must be some deeper thing. They just don't want to do it. 9 times out of 10, they just don't feel like it. They're not trying to. They weren't going to. You just hand them the worksheet to give away some paper, not because of anything else.
Yeah.
What say you, Ty?
Girl, I,
What'd you say?
I try to jump in there.
Okay, this one says another example of how no child left behind failed.
Okay.
This one, yes, they want to allow you to give a grade lower than a 55. So essentially, the child who worked hard for a 65, 70, 75 gets a grade close to a child that earned a 10. And then someone else said this is not preparing them for the real world, which I agree. And I guess this is Webula. I actually agree with that, and that's something I said for many a time is somebody getting a 50, somebody being given a 50, and someone earning a 50. That's not the same, and I don't feel like that's fair. That's why I don't like this whole not giving a student a zero concept. I really don't get it. It just because if I had to work for it, I don't feel like if I worked for it and it was handed to you, that's not fair. So, all right, next one. So this episode, or this is a clip where where we were talking about why admin keeps it a secret when teachers are leaving. And as teachers, especially in Houston, have decided to resign right before going back to school, which I think is comical, they have almost tripled now the number of resignations from teachers and principals as of this week, which has made national news now. Um, this person said, I think administration may believe that teachers leaving is like catching a cold. Once one leaves, then others will leave too. So they keep it private till they think it's necessary to say something. At the end of the day, teachers are going to shift and go different places. Do y'all think that's true, and do you think it's helpful?
Okay. So they go anyway. But I do.
We ain't heard nothing.
Huh?
Nothing you saying, Ty.
Talking too low.
Y'all can hear me?
We can hear you when
Now,
you speak up. Yeah.
Go ahead. I get the next question.
Okay. So Joy, do you think this is accurate? What do you think about it? Do you think it's working for them, for admins, not to say anything?
I mean, either way, the teacher's gonna leave regardless if they want to.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought this was really nice of them. This is a video that we were talking about student consequences, and it said, "I am loving all the conversations you all have had. Makes me feel like I'm not the only one going crazy with the new wave of education policy that is hard to wrap my brain around." This one said, "I'm a fourth year teacher." Oh, this was about the consequences for dress codes. Sorry. So I'm a fourth year teacher and joining the career in my mid 30s. I have my own kids, one in middle school and one in high school. I get the new policies, but I can't stomach, or maybe it's not, anyways, it's something about student consequences. Anyways, I can't stomach handing out a grade when a kid has done nothing. We are doing this next year at my school, and we have to do it for test two. Not sure I can do it this and stand by my morals. I wish we would just go to standards based grading and make it a 1 to 5 scale, similar to what AP classes do. Now I could do that, a 1 to 5 scale. Somebody asked if Ty was using dial up.
Dollar.
Dial up internet.
Oh, on.
She just keep clicking. She keep touching her mic.
I ain't touching nothing.
Girl,
They joy.
somebody said, "Are you?" When she said,
Well,
"What are
you were
you?"
breaking up earlier,
Yeah,
so
you
yes,
breaking
it did sound like you were using dial up.
So what if we went to like a scale, 1 to 5 scale for first grades? I could deal with that.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I really do not care. I'm just gonna keep it just so honest with you. I think we need to just keep it very simple. 0 to 100. You have a rubric of what you expect from the student. If they didn't do it, if they didn't turn it in, it's a 0. See, this is why we are in this conundrum, this predicament with reading and spelling, because we took away the basics. We're trying to reinvent the wheel. Just keep things simple. We don't have to make education should not be this complex. If the child didn't do the work and there are no external circumstances, it's a 0.
Right.
And if they have enough zeros and they did not meet the criteria to matriculate to the next grade, then they are retained.
We know
It's
that's not
that
happening.
simple. It's not difficult. So I think when you do 1 to 5 standard based, it's just very frustrating, and it's not necessary.
So the 1 to 5 scale, like what for AP, like what they use for AP classes, I think it
Mm-hmm.
does answer or it does solve most of what you're talking about because it does allow for failure. It does allow
Right.
for like if you don't do it, it is a 0 and it's just that is your grade and there's no other conversation about it. So, but the 1 to 5 is only it only applies to the work you turned in and it speaks to the mastery of that assignment, whatever
Mm-hmm.
your whatever that rubric as you're just like what you're saying, whatever the rubric is, if you met the criteria in this column, it's like a big project.
Right.
You pass if you met all the requirements, and if you didn't, then you gotta F, you fail. There's nothing, it's no other conversation to that. So
Right.
I get where she's going with this, or where, yeah, I guess she's just, I get where she's going with it. I don't think that as a whole, the system is ready for a shift like that. But I do think it needs to be kept simple, and I still feel like even with standards based grading, it's so subjective. People are, because what does that mastery on in each individual level look like? That's going to be probably.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
I think there's problems no matter what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Okay, so this was about the whether or not math and ELA teachers get stipends based on their scores, because they're tested subjects.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you had asked this question in one of our episodes, and I said
Mm-hmm.
no. And then we found out that there are districts that do, that there are teachers who are paid for student success that get a bonus or something
Excellent.
um about it. I just didn't know that was a real thing. Now I feel like I need to know where those teachers are at. I mean, I don't know. Um, let me see. Okay, so this one I just want to address actually. So this was when you tried to teach us this dance, and I just feel like I need an opportunity to just kind of clarify. I can't dance. I don't dance because I don't. It was a lot of people talking about the girl in the back. The girl in the back is me, and I'm a terrible dancer. But I did the best I could.
You
So
had
I just
fun, so
just wanted to say, just wanted to have an opportunity to say that, to clear my name, to clear my good name.
mm-mm-mm.
Um, Black athletes going to HBCUs. Um, let's see. So we were talking about black athletes taking their talents to HBCUs and should they prioritize that? And these were the comments. An athlete has to take their best offer on the table, especially when it comes to scholarships. HBCUs do not offer great scholarships to athletes. Someone else said, "Let's make HBCUs better, great, or better than them again." And then someone else said, "World class athletes want world class facilities. Some of those kids had better facilities in high school."
That's
And that
true.
was in comparison to HBCUs. So, thoughts?
I agree.
Mm.
I feel like you should be able to play wherever you want to play. Um, but I understand both coins of it, both side of the coins of it. Um, some HBCUs still like to, stay traditional when it comes to their facility. I don't have any, I think they should upgrade, but, you know, that's how some people want to keep their school. They want to keep the tradition. On the other hand, it's just a lot of, history, a lot of setback about, our athletes going to different schools, being the ponies of the shows and
Mhm.
just the puppets or whatever. So,
Right.
but I think a child should go where the opportunity is for them. I think the individual should be able to make that decision,
I
not
agree.
because the school is black or white.
Yeah, I agree. I do wish HBCUs, more of them offered more to our athletes, but I do like that they value education first. So, I don't know. That's my opinion.
They can update those facilities though.
They can. They can. Okay, this is so we were talking about dress codes, how our students are coming to school in their bonnets and do rags and slippers, and pajamas, and Ty was like, "How dare you?" Basically, and so the comments were pretty much like, "Hey, we're really struggling just to even with with discipline. Like we can say something, but it's not always happening. So the kids are still showing up this way." And this person said, "These are arbitrary rules. They have nothing to do with student outcomes. Respectfully, politics will not save us."
I disagree with that being student outcomes. I believe if you dress for success, then that's what you'll end up with.
Agreed. Agreed. I think it does matter.
Yep.
It matters.
Well, yeah, we live in a society where, people are very judgmental and they discriminate, unfortunately. And they assume that if you have on pajama pants and do rags and slides or whatever, that you are a certain type of way. And you could be the most brilliant person in the room.
Hmm.
However, when you go to a concert, you're not wearing slides in
Right.
pajama pants and a bonnet. You want to look nice. Or if you're going out on a date, you dress up.
Hmm.
Um, you go to church or any type of religious setting, you dress for the part. So why wouldn't you dress up or dress for success if you're going to of a place where you're getting an education? It's the same concept, and I think people have um how can I say, they've kind of cheapened the idea of education, where it used to be a privilege to go to a place where you could go and get educated, where you can, learn with the master teachers, and that was a privilege. But we've
Hmm.
just looked at education now in the Western world as just something to do, because if you don't send your child to school, then your parents could go to jail. But education is not free for everyone. Some places you have to pay for education. So we take it for granted here. And also, the expectation has to go from the
I
leadership
can't
on down.
hear. Hello?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you. So if your leadership doesn't expect you to dress for a certain way, then the kids are going to come to school any type of way, and the behavior will follow.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's wild. I think you made a good point, and I feel like people are just kind of saying, if nothing is this, if you know how to dress everywhere else, if you know what to do, what to put on, you know what's appropriate in all these other settings, then you know what's
Mm,
appropriate to wear to school. It's not that hard. You wear pajama clothes, you wear night clothes to bed. You're not going to bed when you go to school, so put on clothes appropriate for school. That's just
right.
what that is. Plus, getting up, getting dressed, and going to school, that changes your mindset. If I'm in pajamas, I'm going to sleep. I don't care where I am. I don't need to be
Right.
that comfortable. If I'm at work, I need to be dressed like I'm at work. If I'm at the club, I'm gonna be dressed like I'm at, like you said. It's just
Mm-hmm.
you need to. They know what to do. The kids know what to do. But I also blame the parents though, because They're accepting it, and we're lowering the standard. And then what happens? Now it's time for a job interview, and they don't know what to do, how to get dressed for that.
Yes, they do.
Oh, you're right.
Because if you go in the stores now, they wearing the bonnets, they wearing the pajamas. I've seen this all weekend.
No,
I went into a store and the manager had on a bonnet. So
stop it.
it's becoming a normal thing.
Uh uh.
It's
Oh my
becoming a normal thing
god.
because we didn't stop it at the door.
Right. And that's what everything though. But you're right. That's terrible. Mm-mm.
They got the bonnets and pajamas in the grocery store all weekend.
Somebody said, "What's wrong with leggings?"
It's a lot wrong with them when you got a full body middle schooler with a crop top on at 11.
So somebody said, if we're going to discuss dress code, can we discuss the lack of teacher dress code? Teachers wear leggings just as much as young ladies. So maybe students are out of uniform, but because teachers and admin are as well. Also, parenting isn't what it was when we were growing up. That's accepting what's accepted now was frowned upon 15, 25 years ago.
Absolutely.
I just,
Some of the teachers come to school looking a hot mess too.
we not going down this road with you.
We can do it. Dressing, dressing for the brunch.
We're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it tonight. No. I ain't
Don't know
even
if you
gonna have no
come to
comment.
teach or you going to the nightclub.
I'm going to brunch.
A full inch, 6-inch heel.
There's nothing wrong with them heels.
You, and then
And
you got some of y'all look like y'all going to the picnic.
Here she go.
Straight to the picnic. Threw it on. Came to school.
people,
Mm-mm.
you dress for somebody else, not for the kids.
Oh Lord. I mean,
Teacher, babe.
Yeah,
next.
give
Next.
say.
um. Uh. It said okay. No. My district says that dress codes is not a safety issue, so they can wear what they want to wear, and we can't say anything.
What?
Yeah, she said my district says that dress code is not a safety issue, so they can wear what they want, and we can't say anything.
Well,
Mm.
all right. Yeah, okay. Look, I
I
wouldn't
mean,
fight. You can come to school in a cat suit if you want to. Just do
well,
your
the
work.
girl down here said my middle school girls will come in a corset. Why does a middle schooler own a corset?
Well, we had one to come in one too.
Right.
Very pretty girl. But hey.
We gotta start drawing a line. You know, I used to not be a fan of uniforms. Remember, I used to say that all the time. I don't want uniform. Let the kids dress. You just.
They
I'm
didn't
ready
need
now. I'm ready to. I'm ready to give up. I changed my opinion. I want to vote the other way.
they need
Uh, I'm a fan for uniforms. I think all students should be in a uniform.
Somebody said it's the parents. They said ain't no way my daughter going out the house without me checking her out. But why do we? I will always say it's not just the girls. It's not just the girls. The boys be doing stuff too, sagging and stuff, looking crazy. I'm standing on that. I don't like that we.
No haircut, hair dry.
Stop the dry. Stop.
doing this dry hair.
Huh?
Nothing.
Ashy. All that.
You asked what's dry hair.
She did.
I said, what's with you talking about the dry hair? You always talk about the dry hair and the teachers.
You seen the dry hair.
um. So basically, this clip we were talking about teachers and all the supplies, and we were saying like, hey, we're buying all this stuff. Y'all need to do, parents need to do their parts, and districts need to do their parts. And someone said, it's time for us to collectively take a stand. I've been waiting on this for 20 years. Talking about no longer purchasing the supplies for students or for the classrooms. It's going above and beyond. So get what you need, and that's it. I sent y'all the picture of the fully funded classroom, and I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, I'm ready to not. I started looking receipts and of what I've spent. I had an envelope, and there was a comma in my total of what I
Hmm.
had spent in one school year. Classroom stuff that was not for me. It was sad. So y'all not gonna buy stuff this year?
Very limited.
I don't think we should have to pay for it personally.
Well, that's how the cookie crumble.
Yeah. I do agree that we need to collectively stop doing it. I don't think it's fair that there's such a heavy lean on us doing it.
Well, they give you a
That $250 ain't it. Okay. Now I said there was a comma in what I spent. I didn't that 250 ain't touching it. Um Somebody said that this is all part of a plan, or that their plan is falling into place. They want to privatize schools and employ foreigners and pay substandard while they take half the charter school grants at the same time, while they are creating an underclass for the prisons and McDonald's. That's those who can't happenstance TikTok their way to some funds. Uh, I don't even know where to start with that. That was a lot going on.
that was heavy.
Yeah, that was a lot. I'm gonna just move on past it.
But I don't see a lot of foreigners at my school.
I don't either. I don't see him.
Wait, what was the?
This this comment at the bottom. It's a whole mess. And this is what we were talking about. Teachers paying out of pocket to support the students and paying for stuff in their classrooms. And it's a lot.
Mm.
Here we go. I just couldn't. That's too much for me personally. But yeah, so we can save that one for another day. Um, Somebody said the teachers are leaving, custodians are leaving, paras, Title I tutors, secretaries. They can't keep activity helpers. The adults in the schools are tired of disrespectful students, disrespectful parents, and watching their friends and colleagues get mistreated. And someone said, we need to stop using our money. I have learned this finally after 28 years. Too late.
Mm.
I could not imagine 28 years of
Of
paying
teaching.
for somebody else's stuff.
Oh, I said
Teaching either. Teaching either. Absolutely not. Teaching either. But paying for somebody else's stuff.
Oh Lord, it's like a. Never mind. Let me be quiet.
That sounds terrible. Mm-mm. I'm gonna move on. I thought this was nice. I love this. I love this podcast. We love you too, the real Mr. Brooks.
Yeah.
We love you too. This one, okay. I thought this was a great comment from the clip where Joya was talking about her experience teaching social studies and how the lady turned around and was like pretending she was talking to somebody. But I thought this comment was like, this was straight up Ty's alley. She said, this touched a nerve. I teach ELA and social studies. My admin just made the decision to more or less eliminate social studies to increase ELA because our school needs to improve reading scores, but not seeing a correlation between social studies and reading. Student literacy is actually improved by social studies instruction due to the complexity of reading and required critical thinking skills. Eliminating it from the elementary curriculum is setting students up for greater failure at the middle school and high school levels. I'm disheartened by this. Ty?
I agree. ELA is in everything in all content areas, so I don't see why. Did they say social studies was removed?
Yep. In her
Yeah,
school.
that was I think a disservice to the students because, like you said, the complexity of the question. I mean, you can't teach ELA if you don't bring in those components because we teach nonfiction and we teach about fiction, informationals. So I don't understand that. You gotta have those standards.
It's crazy. I just know that that's what.
Enjoy making all that noise.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
But yeah, I agree. I thought that was interesting. I mean, y'all know I'm not a fan of social studies, but that's just me. But I do recognize that it is important for them to have it. And I don't I wonder though how, as an admin making that decision, right? What kind of educational background do you have where that is a decision that you make?
I think you still can have an education background, because some people that have educational backgrounds don't always make the best decisions. I think it does, not to say that everybody that, went the traditional way to become an educator is wrong. But I think when you have those other career fields, they add to making, sometimes some better judgment when it comes to making decisions in the education realm.
Right. That's that's a lot. But I just feel like as a principal or an administrator of a school, you should someone other than one more than one person should be making that type of decision. And I just feel like somehow this decision shouldn't be the one that you came up with.
Yeah.
You know
Well,
what I mean? Like that seems a
they make
little wild
a
to
lot
me.
of bad decisions. So it's
Hmm.
it's okay. It's not okay with it. It's okay.
Never mind. We'll move past that one. Can we give F's? Some people said no. Somebody said best practices is passing is they said pass. It's pissing me off when we don't have the best system or situations. And then somebody said, do grades even matter anymore? They are steady passing these kids no matter what grade they're making. I teach fourth grade, and most of my kids are on a kindergarten or first grade reading level overall. And somebody else said, quick answer, no. So y'all giving F's, collectively giving S, using best practices and giving them what they need and building relationships in order to improve student behavior.
Yeah, but they gotta meet us halfway. We can't. That's not how a relationship goes. If you're in a marriage and you're doing all the work, sorry, I gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
I got to go. Like the partnership, or in science we call that a parasitic relationship, where you are just
Mm.
giving and giving and the other thing is just taking and taking and taking. That is a parasitic relationship.
That's what teaching
That
is.
means your host is going to die at some
Yeah.
point.
I think
So, same thing, student teacher, teacher parent. Like it takes a village to raise a child, literally.
oh. Um Somebody said to the same thing. One time we were told to put nothing lower than a 75. So I had to change all the zeros to 75s. She said, talking about hot potatoes, I was steaming because these kids do not care. Someone else said the lowest we can put in the grade book is a 55, and she's a middle school teacher. Someone else said they can only give 50s and above.
That's standard. They want you to put that 50 in.
Let me tell you something. The way this is, we've talked about this before, and I think Joy made the comment that this is not prepared enough for later. It is not, because you're not going to nobody's job and doing no work and still gonna have a job. You're not going to nobody's any place. You're not finna get the power turned on at your place for the first time and never pay the bill, and then them be like, we'll give you half the house in power. We'll let you use it for half the month. You ain't even got to pay. No one's doing that. You're not gonna do nothing and still get a check. That just
What
doesn't
a,
make sense to me.
a lot of people's argument was, if you give them the zero, then it's hard for the student to come back from that.
But we allow you to turn it in. Even partial. If you turn the work back in. Most teachers that I've talked to, they either the teacher has this policy, the school has that policy, or the district has a policy that even the late work we can grade it. Like I said before, we were taking late work at the school I had met y'all at. We was taking late work to the last day of school for full
We didn't
credit.
have like we didn't when we I know I'm sounding like one of the old folks. When I was growing up, if the teacher dropped the lowest zero, or the she may drop, for example, he or she may drop 1 0
Mm-hmm.
out of the grade book. Like it wasn't optional. The standard is that you do your work.
I
It's
think,
really that
yep.
simple. But because we have the No Child Left Behind, and I always say most people plan for the next day or the next week, but the people that control this educational system plan 20, 30, 40 years in advance. And the game that we think that we're playing, they're like light years ahead of us. So a lot of the things that they're doing is like, well, it doesn't make sense. Well, it's for a purpose. They want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that they push through the people that didn't get the opportunity to learn how to read or to write. Because I mean, they're going to fill certain jobs. Everybody is not going to make to be an entrepreneur, and that
Yeah.
doesn't mean I'm saying that people that have lower paying jobs can't read or write. But this is the mentality of the people that create your educational system for your students.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't what Real Teachers of Atlanta is saying. This is what they are thinking. So if they push a bunch of people who can't read, can't write, can't do simple arithmetic
Mm-hmm.
through, you have to fill the prisons. You know that statistically speaking, people that do not have an education choose the life of crime. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's all orchestrated to pan out perfectly the way that they see fit, because they're
Yep.
planning 40 years ahead of us, 100 years ahead. This is not a game for them. Every
Yeah.
day they're on. They take no days off. But we're playing around on social media. We're watching TikTok videos, not learning anything. We don't have any balance in life, and these people are not playing. So there you have it.
You right. All of that. All of it. Um. Somebody said we were talking about relationship building being the fix to all the problems, student relationships, relationships within the building. Specifically, in this, the episode itself was about student discipline and then relationships. So, this clip was talking about admins having relationships with with their teachers and modeling. I was saying, hey, if you keep telling me to use building a relationship as a way to support my students and their behaviors and solve the world's problems, why don't you show me how that looks? Like, you build that relationship with me. And so this lady's response, which I thought was really nice, and she said, for the educators that don't experience this with their leadership team, I am so sorry. It's a whole vibe at my school. I love my teachers, my students, and the entire community. I have so many mottos and quotes I try to live by, but my favorite for the teacher is, you take care of the kids, I'll take care of you, and in the end, we will take care of each other. Lead, model, and learn from each other, and I promise you will go far. And I really love that she said that, because that was exactly what we're talking about, is your leadership, you're modeling it. So in the roles that you play where you're a leader, you lead and model, and then people around you will learn from what it is that you were doing. And I thought that was really important, because that's exactly what we've been talking about for the longest. And I still don't think building relationships is the 100% fix to student behavior problems, but I do think that if you have supportive leadership
Hmm.
and you have leadership that is modeling the type of behavior that is active in the classroom, that's doing what they need to do, then you are going to see improved student behavior, because they're going to be supporting you. And I think that's the biggest part, personally.
Yep. The leadership piece is very key.
So do you think they teach that when principals become when people become principals or administrative leaders? Do you think that they like somehow take a class that talks about that, or they take a course on relationship building?
Okay, so are you talking about leadership? So what you want them to model is leadership, building relationships with their staff.
Mm-hmm. I feel like because I
Um,
do feel like that's important. Do they learn
it,
to
I
what that
mean,
looks like?
of course, I'm sure that's part of their learning material. Especially when you're a leader of a school, you have to have some type of
Mm.
team building skills. So yeah, I wouldn't see why that wouldn't be a part of the curriculum.
So do we get to? So I'm gonna ask you this question because I was thinking about this earlier, right? Somebody made a comment, and I don't even think I screenshotted it, but they were like, um, we're talking about instructional coaches. I think it's gonna come up, but they said, yeah, instructional coaches should only be able to hold that position for like 3 years. And then I got to thinking, what if admins, administrators of schools, so principal, vice principal, whatever, had to be voted in like the president? What if we had to vote? What if we had to vote? And then you could have this, you could serve your term and then you was out. Like you could do 2 terms. So you could never be principal. Let's say you could never be a
Are you
principal
talking
for
about as an
5 years.
instructional coach or as a principal?
No, as a principal, like what if that was the how we vote for the president was how we voted for principals? Like if the district vetted out maybe okay, we got a school that needs a principal, right? The district vetted out 10 candidates got it down to the top 3 that meet all the qualifications by their standard, and we could vote for those 3 and pick who's going to be the principal. And only the teachers at that school that were already contractually signed for the next year could vote. So if the teachers didn't want you, you couldn't.
Okay, I'm back.
What if that was what you did? What if
So
it was
that's like voting for like teacher of the year.
no, because like you're voting for who's gonna lead you. Teacher of the year, that's just an award. That's a trophy. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but this is essentially what this is because
More like voting for the president.
I mean that's by the popular vote.
Yeah, it's a popular vote of the school. Same, I guess, similar. But what if we
Uh,
voted for who our admin was, and
I
they
mean,
were
I
limited?
can't say yay or nay. I don't know how I feel about that. I gotta think about it.
You gotta think about it. I'm gonna give
What's
you.
the question?
I was bringing up so I was saying, what if instead of how principals are hired and they just keep this job forever and ever and ever or whatever, what I was saying is, what if principals were voted on, like it was an appointed, like at a position where you had to be voted in?
It is, isn't it?
No, they're just hired and then appointed to a school. That's where you work at.
The more you know.
Yeah, no, they're not voted on. The
Wow.
like the superintendents and stuff like that are,
Oh, okay, okay,
but
okay.
not your principal and your vice principals and stuff. But if
Mm.
your local school leadership, your local admins, your on-campus admin, if we
Mm.
voted for them, because I just feel like from the admins that I've encountered, most of them I would not have voted for.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a few that I've had that I would vote for.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, yeah, I want I think this person will be a good, but like I feel like they should have to campaign, like hold a staff meeting and we all can sit and like listen to their plan for the
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But there was a cap, so like maybe their term was only 5 years. And then you had
Oh,
to
like
like
the
re-elect,
presidency.
you
I
could get
agree.
5 more years, and then you could only do it 10 years, and then somebody else had to come in.
Right. I
I
like
think
that.
I think that would work. I wonder. I'm just curious. I just feel like that might eliminate some of these people who just are principals until their last day.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Um, so this was about instructional coaches. They should be substitutes. And this person wrote us a dissertation and they said, I disagree. As a formal instructional coach, we have to conduct PLCs, content meeting, content meetings, create resources for teachers, manage data, implement instructional programs, etc. What I did was model certain teacher actions, i.e., think aloud, small groups, and thresholds for teaching that I was developing via coaching cycles for Get Better Faster. There's too much on our plates to actually spend an entire instructional day inside a classroom subbing. If that's the case, then administrators should sub too. That's a low impact action when we are considering academic achievement.
Well, welcome to the club. Join us. Like, get out of here, please. Like, stop it. Stop. Welcome to the club.
About to fall out my chair.
Welcome to the club.
Mm-mm.
Girl, like what?
Wasn't
Okay.
prepared for that answer.
Girl, welcome to the club.
Yo.
Join us.
She said, I don't give a
Join
damn.
us. And that's exactly how we feel. So
Right.
you want me,
Meanwhile, oh Lord.
you give me all these different things to do, but you don't model them.
Right. Show me how to juggle all this.
Like this is right. These kids are different. Some of them aren't, well, depending on the school. It really depends on the standard of the school.
Yeah. That's crazy though that you bring that up because that's true too. The standards that are the whatever the expectations of that school are, those students will meet. Which we've talked about that before. I guess it's not crazy, but we've talked about that before. And then people are always like, no, because in certain areas, but that really doesn't matter. That's been disputed and debunked so many times. It doesn't matter the where. It just matters what expectations do you hold those kids to. They will meet them. I think Ty, you talked about that before.
That's right. Who's tired of too?
Um, Oh, I don't know which one of us wrote this, but somebody said we get it. But the fact that as a coach, you don't have time. As a coach, you don't have time to coach is part of the problem as well. I think it's true because at no point did they really say they were coaching. They said they model for certain teachers.
I don't see a lot of instructional coaches like I did when I first entered the teaching field because when I first started, instructional coaches would come and help your teaching skills. They would provide support, not necessarily to tell you what to teach, but they would come in and sit in your class and then offer some type of support if it was needed, to give you some better strategies on teaching in the classroom. But I don't see instructional coaches like that anymore. So I don't know if they have a different type of um job duty now or whatever the case may be.
I don't know. I think that it's kind of wild. I've seen them. I know with math we had them a lot. I know we see them a lot or more frequently in elementary school, and then of course they're with new teachers, usually more frequently. But a lot of I want to say a lot. The district that we used to work at together, their instructional coaches are at the district office and not on site at the school. So I really don't know how they're coaching. I don't know how they're providing the coach part of the instruction to coach thing. They make lesson plans, like generic lesson plans, and then say, now make this work for your classroom. And they provide those cookie cutter lessons that we talk about all the time where, you know, they're not differentiated to meet the needs of the students in my classroom. They're just bland, you know, lessons. That's what happens. I digress. But I think that's the only thing. Well, I think this is the last one. Uh, oh, somebody said that they were. So we were saying that coaches should sub, and somebody said they plan on suggesting this in their next staff meeting. I told her to tag me and let me know how it goes.
Mm.
I
Right.
need to know. Need to know how that work out for you. But
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah. Uh, But that was all the ones that I pulled out. So, but I thought they were interesting pieces that we
That
had.
was cool. That was fun.
Oh, someone on YouTube said the rubric explains. We were talking about the rubric. They said it explains the expectations. Now, if a student is reaching for the 90 plus, they'll put in the work. The student aiming for the 0 to 59 knows how to earn that too. And I believe in the rubric. I think that makes sense. That's what they
Yep.
said. So
Yes,
they want,
sir.
if they want it, they'll try. If they don't, they won't.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's what's up. I know that's right. We hit all the points.
Bam. So
This was fun.
what other stuff have y'all seen? What's coming
Mm-mm.
next? What you got? Do your rundown.
We have season 3, September the
I saw my
7th
copy. Yes.
is when
Something like
we're
that sounds right.
shooting.
The pictures.
So
Yep, we got new photos coming.
yeah, and we have a contest for the teachers coming to
And merch
my
still
video
available.
and get that.
You still
Mm-hmm.
purchase merch.
Merchandise is still available.
Yep.
Yeah. What else, guys?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Make sure you
The
check out our
photos